Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to Queen Ahmadiyyah TV presents Beyond the Realm. All right. So, RG3 Fitness says sage is burning. Oh, you all are hilarious. Okay, so I'm about to tell you all the haunted story of Lake Lanier. So I have several things. I have some articles that I'm going to read to you about people who have a person who mysteriously died there. I'll show a video, and then also I have a PowerPoint. So we're going to start with the PowerPoint first. All right. So let's get into it, people. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Everyone, please get the lights up. I want to be a mod. Okay, Tony Curtis, I'll mod you after this video, okay? I promise. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and share the screen, but everyone please get the lights up, like and share the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, click the notification bell, click the word all, and make sure that you, if you have not been receiving your notifications, that you double check to make sure you're still subscribed, okay? All right. Let's get into it. Okay, here we go. All right, the haunted history of Lake Lanier. Now, there's a very sinister story around this popular Georgia lake that's going to give you chills. I'm sure many of you may have visited there, but most of you probably don't know about the haunted past. So what if I told you that besides being a wonderful vacation destination in Georgia, that Lake Lanier is also considered to be cursed? All right, the sinister stories behind Lake Lanier include strange phenomena, odd creatures, and most spine-tingling of all, inexplicable deaths. Now, it all started out as a man-made lake, which eventually lost control, filling and spreading and devouring towns, bridges, historical landmarks, and nearby businesses along the way. Now, what was supposed to be a man-made reservoir by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers ended up causing death and destruction through unregulated water flow, sinking homes and towns along the way. Now, this is what many people don't know. There was a town, and now it lies underneath Lake Lanier, okay? Many of the people that lived in that town, most of the people were Black, all right? So this whole town literally is under the water. Very crazy, right? So throughout the years, there have been an uncanny amount of deaths associated with Lake Lanier, from boat crashes to drownings, even vehicles losing control and careening off into the water. Very strange things. And some of you may have heard that Usher Raymond's stepson, I believe it was back in 2011, he died at Lake Lanier also in a boating incident. Now, mysterious drownings have also occurred, with bodies showing up miles from where they went under, and no one can explain that. There's also been people that said they've been in the water and it feels like someone was pulling them under. Some people who almost drowned in the water of Lake Lanier described the experience as if they were being pulled underneath the water or held there without having any control. Years later, tragedy continued to strike, taking the lives of children through random and unfathomable accidents on the water, plus unsolved murder mysteries where bodies were discovered near the lake. And no one knew how these people died. They just turned up dead. And I'm going to tell you about one person in particular by the name of Kelly Nash, who died in a very mysterious way at Lake Lanier. Now, there have been numerous rumors that ghosts linger at nighttime on the lake, whether it be the lady of the lake moaning without any hands or the ghostly raft that has been seen appearing and disappearing at night for decades. The sinister smear that these stories and more of what they hold is ultimately has ultimately led Lake Lanier to earn the title of being cursed. Could it be that this underwater ghost town and how it began held so much destruction that it was doomed from the very start? If you ask me, this is just my opinion, I think it's the spirits of those Black people who lived there, and they were just held in disregard, and they built the man-made lake or the beach right over them, right? And destroyed everything. Now, to many Georgians, the Lake Serpentine Lake, northeast of Atlanta, is a recreational hotspot, popular for boating and water sports. But supernatural lore and urban legends about the lake have found a receptive audience on social media, where they found legends or legions of believers. Now, legend has it that the ghost of a long dead woman roams this lake in a flowing blue dress. Mysterious arms reach out for swimmers from the watery depths. Angry spirits call people home to the submerged graves. These and other spooky tales have haunted Lake Lanier and in the foothills of the northern Georgia mountains. This has happened for decades. The lake was created in the 1950s by flooding valley communities that contained a cemetery, fueling beliefs that it's cursed. Historians say some unmarked graves and other structures were swallowed up by the waters. And this is absolutely true. And if you look at the thumbnail, the picture I showed you that I posted on the thumbnail, that is some of the graves that lie beneath the surface at Lake Lanier. Now, more than 200 people have died in swimming and boating accidents on the lake since 1994, adding to its dark history. And the Netflix drama Ozark, which has its own high body count films, it films scenes at the lake. The stories about mysterious underwater sightings are eerie, especially at Halloween. But the true backstory of Lake Lanier, built over an underwater ghost town, is just as interesting. And mind you, many of these stories that I'm telling you about, they always reference Halloween. And as I told you before, Halloween is a night that is full of satanic, demonic, and evil energy. I told you how priests often have exorcisms that they perform on Halloween because they know that's the time that many of these spirits are drawn out and these demons, and they think that's the way to expel the demons from the person. And also people, they go to haunted places on Halloween. So that's when they experience a lot of this paranormal activity. Now, the lake was mired in controversy from the beginning, from the start. Controversy surrounding the lake, as described by author and historian Lisa Russell, started long before its construction. Before the land was buried in water, it was lush and fertile, with rabbits and squirrels scampering around. Communities thrived with fancy names like Castleberry Bottom, Russell says. Now, then came the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, which wanted to create a lake to provide Atlanta and surrounding counties with power and water. The government offered locals money for their farmland. Most of it had been in families for generations, making it almost impossible to put a price tag on it. This is what Russell said, a writing instructor at Georgia Northwestern Technical College and author of several books on the lost towns of North Georgia. Now, the Army Corps flooded farmland bought from hundreds of families that they used to create Lake Lanier. At first, the government assured the landowners that they were being paid for the true value of the land and the buildings. But residents found it hard to price generations of memories and hard work and deep roots. This is what Russell wrote in her book, Underwater Ghost Towns in North Georgia. Now, a host of emotions accompanied the talk of relocation. There was anger, resentment, fear, anxiety, bewilderment, and apprehension. To them, their land was priceless. Eventually, some 700 families sold a total of 56,000 acres to the government, which built a dam on the Chattahoochee River to form the lake. And as their land filled with water in 1956, locals jammed roads and bridges to watch as history vanished right before their very eyes. Whatever they had abandoned was covered by the rising waters. Even the lake's naming was contentious. This is what Russell says. Now, some local officials wanted to name it after Georgia politicians. Others sought to name it after a legendary football coach. Eventually, they decided to name it after Sidney Lanier, an 18th century Georgia poet who wrote Song of the Chattahoochee. Named for the poet Sidney Lanier, the lake was built in the 1950s to provide electric power, water, and flood protection. Some of the families later regretted their decision once they realized they couldn't survive on what the government had offered them. But the lake brought multiple benefits, including flood protection from the Chattahoochee, which flows west of Atlanta. Now, today, Lake Lanier has about 625 billion gallons of water, which is the equivalent of 950,000 Olympic-sized pools, and they yield mysterious stories. What lies beneath? Now, to prepare the land to be filled with water, the Army Corps of Engineers demolished or removed anything they considered dangerous. They uprooted trees and hauled them away. Barns and wooden structures that could float and endanger watercraft were all moved. Major infrastructure such as bridges and water intakes were relocated. But the community had a cemetery. While the Corps identified and moved the marked graves, it's likely that some unmarked ones were inadvertently left behind. This is what Cesar Yabar says, a spokesman for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Now, the technological capability to identify and verify unmarked burial sites through subsurface scanning or other means was far less robust 70 years ago. This is what Yabar told CNN. Now, while the Corps made every effort at the time to locate the unmarked burials, the limited capabilities of the time make it probable that unanticipated finds of human remains were possible, whether from the antebellum and the Civil War periods or of the Native American origin from pre-colonial and ancient times. Now, wardens from Georgia's Department of Natural Resources on Lake Lanier in 1961. An old auto racing track near Gainesville was also left behind, and it remains at the lake bottom. And this is a picture of it right here. Now, although the Corps removed its bleachers so they wouldn't float to the surface and cause hazards for boats, the concrete block foundations of some small buildings were also submerged. Now, some people have claimed to hear church bells from a sunken church, but Yabar told CNN that's not possible. No such structure was known to have been left behind due to the height issue. If it had a steeple, as well as the floating wood issue, he said. Now, over the decades, when the lake's water levels dropped during droughts, submerged roads, tire parts, and other artifacts have been exposed. This is what Russell, a historian, said. Russell believes that unmarked graves also were left behind because they were not easily identified and there was no family to claim them. Now, the funny thing is, he says that he doesn't believe there was a church left behind and that it couldn't be submerged. But if there was no church left behind, where are those ringing bells coming from? That's what I'd like to know. Now, Beaufort Dam on Lake Lanier in May of 2013. Okay, so to Russell, the changes wrought by the human-made lake are scarier than the spooky folklore. A haunting is sometimes defined as something that is too difficult to ignore or forget, something that is poignant and evocative. The real haunting in this story is how history has made it impossible to ignore what was done to the land in North Georgia. Once a land of wild rivers, North Georgia is now broken with dams and human-made bodies of water that changed the entire ecosystem. Once a land that belonged to indigenous people, it is now buried under the water, making recovering of lost culture impossible. They should give us reparations for this alone, people. Now, watery sightings and the Lady of the Lake over the years, divers have reported creepy sightings beneath the murky waters. Some tell stories of freaky catfish as big as a Volkswagen. Now, YouTube is filled with divers showing videos of sunken houseboats and piles of debris. Between 1994 and October of this year, which I believe this was 2019, 203 people had died in drownings and boating incidents at Lake Lanier, according to Mark McKinnon of the Georgia Department of Natural Resources. Now, in 2017, longtime diver Buck Buchanan told local media that he sometimes felt body parts in the lake during his many excursions. He says, you reach out into the dark and you feel an arm or a leg and it doesn't move, he said. But that has not affected the lake's popularity. With about 12 million visitors last year, Lake Lanier was one of the most visited core built lakes in the nation. This is what Yabar said of the Army Corps of Engineers, which operates 464 lakes in 43 different states. One of Lake Lanier's most popular urban legends involves a car wreck. According to the story, a Ford sedan carrying two women careened off of a bridge in April of 1958 and tumbled into the lake. Some say the ghost of the woman, dubbed the Lady of the Lake, wanders the bridge at night in a blue dress, lost and restless. But despite Lake Lanier's haunted history, it remains one of the favorite summer getaways for many Georgians. And surprisingly, many don't even know the hidden history of the man-made beach or its sunken town that lies beneath the surface of these dark waters. And here are some pictures of the people that go there to visit in the summer. A lot of people go there, especially for Mother's Day weekends. All these people that come there, you know, like I said, many of them don't even know these things ever happened. Look at Cole Kunis. So that concludes the PowerPoints. But now I want to tell you the story about a young man who, what happened? Oh, I want to tell you the story about a young man who turned up dead at Lake Lanier, and also two brothers who died there in a very strange incident. The young man's name was Kelly Nash. He disappeared at Lake Lanier, and then he was found dead from a gunshot wound. No one could explain exactly what happened. They ended up speculating that maybe he killed himself, but that sounds very unlikely. Kelly Nash, age 25, went missing from his Buford, Georgia home January the 5th. Nash left the house without his wallet. He had no car keys, no ID, but supposedly had a 9mm handgun and went missing from his home that night. Or, I'm sorry, the 9mm handgun went missing from his house that night. Now, a fisherman came upon Kelly Nash's decomposed body in Lake Lanier in early February. Sheriff's officials said the 25-year-old accounting student suffered a gunshot wound and had also drowned. Now, his girlfriend and him were at the house, and I think she woke up in the middle of the night to find him missing. So Kelly Nash left in the early hours of January the 5th when he woke up coughing and sneezing. And he told his girlfriend, Jessica Sexton, that he wasn't feeling well. So by the time Sexton got up at 7:30 a.m., he was gone. He left the house without his wallet, ID, or car or keys to his truck. This is all crazy. And I'm going to show you all some pictures in just a moment. Now, on February the 8th, a man fishing at Lake Lanier discovered Kelly's body, and it was badly decomposed. The gruesome find came after a month-long exhaustive search conducted by the missing man's family and friends, accompanied by cadaver dogs. There was a $50,000 reward that was being offered for information on Nash's whereabouts. Nash was discovered in the water wearing the same pajama pants and the dark shirt that he had on when he stopped by a convenience store to pick up some items just hours prior to him going missing. Now, Sexton, his girlfriend of 3 years, said she had seen the 24-year-old play video games before they turned in to go to bed. And at 4 a.m., he awakened suffering from cold or flu symptoms. And sometime before 7:30, he walked out of his home on Jimmy Dodd Road, never to return again. And I find this very strange because they speculated that he left to go get cough medicine because he was coughing and having cold or flu symptoms. But the thing is, he didn't have his wallet or his car keys, the keys to his truck. So I thought that was very strange. Now, the tattoos on the body of the 6'2" former college basketball player helped police to positively identify the victim as Nash. But because of the deteriorated state of the corpse, officials did not immediately observe any signs of trauma. Hall County Sheriff's officials declined to comment on whether foul play was suspected in the case. They were rather awaiting the official report from the medical examiner before releasing the cause of death. They said, "We do feel that he went into the water in close proximity to where he was found." This is what Hall County Sheriff's Deputy Nicole Bell said. According to his family, Nash was about to graduate with a degree in accounting from Georgia Gwinnett College, and he was also employed at his father Allen's construction company. So it just seems very strange to me that he would have just gone out there and killed himself, like some people were speculating, because he was shot. But at the end of the day, if he was going to kill himself, why would he be going to the store to get cough medicine? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to share my screen to show you some of these pictures. Everyone, please get the likes up. Yes, very strange, El Nicole. That's a picture of him, and that's the missing poster that they put up days after he was missing. They first were offering a $10,000 reward, and that reward was increased to $50,000. That's a picture of him and his girlfriend who reported him missing. That's the part of the lake where he was found at, where a fisherman came upon his body, and it was badly decomposed like a month later. That's a picture of him. So that's all just very weird as far as I'm concerned. Now, there was another incident where two brothers died at Lake Lanier. And this was more recent. This happened in 2020, August of 2020. Now, two brothers found dead on a boat in Georgia. Third man hospitalized. Carbon monoxide poisoning from generator is suspected to be the cause. Two brothers died of likely carbon monoxide poisoning from a generator, and a third man was taken to the hospital after an overnight boating trip on Georgia's Lake Lanier turned tragic. Scott Landeck, age 22, and his brother Brian Landeck, age 31, were found unconscious by the family members Saturday morning after they spent the night on their boats. Now, relatives were able to awake the third man on the boat, but he was disoriented and taken to the hospital. The bodies were discovered by friends and family members at 11 a.m. in the Bald Ridge Creek near Mary Alice Park. Forsyth County Sheriff's Office spokeswoman Stacy Miller told the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Now, the generator was not in an enclosed area of the boat, but it was positioned so that its exhaust did not exit the boat. This is what Miller told the newspaper. And she says the toxic fumes must have filled the cabin. She says it is believed that they were running a generator all night with the canopy of the boat closed. Though it was in an area that was not enclosed, the positioning of the generator did not allow for the exhaust to exit the boat. Instead, it filled the cabin where the men were sleeping. Now, family members found them Saturday morning and towed the boat back to the mainland, and then they called the police. Deputies responded to a call about two men being deceased on a boat at Lake Lanier's Mary Alice Park at 11:23 a.m. on a Saturday. Family told investigators that the three family members had gone out Friday evening to spend the night on the boat at the island of Lake Lanier. And they were the latest fatalities on the 38,542-acre lake. Now, Forsyth County Sheriff's Office, along with Cumming Police Department, Forsyth County Fire Department, and EMS responded to Mary Alice Park in reference to a boat with two deceased males on board. This is what the Sheriff's Office reported that Saturday. Now, let me tell you something interesting about these two brothers who were found dead. These two brothers who were found dead, they were supposed to be racist and suspected wannabe white supremacists. And I remember when this happened, Tariq Nasheed posted about it on Twitter. Hold on, because I'm going to go to Tariq's tweets. Okay, I'm going to share my screen so y'all can see that. I don't need to hear about nothing but one tragedy and I'm good. So I don't understand why nobody else would go there, period. Let me tell you something. I've been there numerous of times. And the thing is, when I went, I never knew any of these things. That's why I know most people that go there don't even know these things themselves. I haven't been there in years, but the times that I did go, I never knew any of this stuff ever happened. Because they don't broadcast it, because they know people would not go, right? That's how they make money. Okay, as you can see, this is Tyreek's tweets. You know, Tyreek is the king of receipts. And this is what he posted. He says, the men found dead today on a boat in Lake Lanier were identified as brothers Scott Landeck and Brian Landeck. Brian appeared to be a big Confederate supporter, and he died in the month of August on a lake that is said to be haunted by the spirits of Black people. Here's some pictures of him. Somebody says, sure do mess during this that year ride for Pride, or I think they meant to say missed. Sure do miss doing this that year for Ride of Pride. This is him and his brother participating in this Confederate thing. As you can see, their Confederate flags and all of them have it on their shirts and all that stuff. They call it Ride for Pride. Okay, so yes, clearly he was racist. And here they are right here, the two brothers. So that is the haunted tale of Lake Lanier, people. Okay? Very strange. Very strange. But hold on, because I have a video that I'm going to show where someone says that Lake Lanier is exactly 100% haunted. Okay? So let's get the lights up. Please like and share. Okay. This is a TikToker named Jay Bailey. She says there's 3 places you should never visit if you go to Georgia. And all 3 of them are Lake Lanier. Pay attention. She said there's 3 places you should never visit if you go to Georgia, and all 3 of them are Lake Lanier. All right. And she says the lake is literally full of dead bodies, and it is. Bailey explains in her video, which generated over 1.3 million views within a week. If that don't scream haunted, then I don't know what does. Now I'm going to show you her video. Let's get the lights up. Thank you in advance.
These are the top 3 places you don't want to visit in Georgia. Number 1, Lake Lanier. Number 2, Lake Lanier. Number 3, Lake Lanier. In 1957, the United States government flooded 50,000 acres of land. This displaced 250 families, 15 businesses, and 20 cemeteries. The lake is literally full of dead bodies. If that don't scream haunted, I just don't know what does. Since the lake has been open to the public, 675 people have died, and everybody's body ain't even been found. Quit going over there. Don't go over there. Please stop going to Lake Lanier. I ain't even from Georgia, and I know that.
All very true, people. All very true. So, excuse me. So here's how many people have died there since 2019. Let's talk about that. Okay. Now, if you haven't heard of Lake Lanier yet, chances are you will this summer. From seemingly constant reports of missing people at the popular Georgia getaway to rumors of its haunted past, the lake is one of the eeriest summer destinations in the United States. In the United States, people. Now, so there have been, in 2020, there were 7 people that drowned, and 3 of them died. 3 other people died in boating incidents. And there's a lot of Blackfoot said, I would never go there, okay? Under any stretch of your imagination. Hold on, people, I have a pop-up. Hold on just a moment. Okay, so anyway, they say over 200 and something people. I will go vacation the lake, but would not go into the water or walk upon it. Right. Well, I don't think I'll be going back since I know all of these things have happened. Because like I said, when I went there in the past, I did not have a clue that it was haunted. Okay? And that's what I didn't have. So let me show you all one more video before I conclude this broadcast. And don't forget, I'm coming right back at 10 p.m. This is going to be the last ghost story for the night. But we're going to talk about Georgia's haunted Central States. It was a full-on lunatic asylum in Milledgeville, Georgia. And it still stands to this day. Very nefarious, people. Almost like the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. Very similar. Okay. I'm trying to find a short clip. Here's one right here. Hold on, people. Here we go. Okay, everyone get the likes up. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. I'm about to share my screen so you all can see this.
Lake Lanier looks as serene and as tranquil as can be. It was constructed originally in the northern part of Georgia by the Army Corps of Engineers. The peaceful shores of the reservoir look like the perfect place to sit back and relax on a warm summer's day. But dip beneath the surface and you might be surprised by what you'll find. Since the lake was formed in the 1950s to supply more water and hydroelectric energy to Atlanta, there have been 500 boating or drowning deaths, hundreds of rescues, and 27 bodies that have never been recovered. What could possibly be so dangerous about this lake? Are there hidden hazards, or are more sinister forces at play? Welcome to Intrigued Mind, and join us today as we run through the strange and haunted history of Lake Lanier. For a lake with such a terrifying, mysterious reputation, the origins of the place are equally eerie. The reservoir was first constructed in 1956 when the Army Corps of Engineers completed the Buford Dam on the
This, people, because I've already talked about all of that. Okay, let's stop right here.
An estimated 675 people have died in the lake since its opening in the 1950s. According to many reports, not all of the bodies lost have been recovered. The stark reality of the lake is terrifying enough, but that hasn't stopped locals suggesting alternative accounts of Lanier's mysterious dangers. According to some, the submerging of some graves and the displacement of others during construction have resulted in the lake's haunting by angry spirits. Divers who have explored the underwater ruins of the lake have made no secret of the fact they are cautious about what they might find. Buck Buchanan, a diver who has experienced exploring the depths of Lake Lanier, said this about his experience in October 2017.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire,
You reach out into the dark and you feel an arm or a leg, and it doesn't move. That's creepy. If the submerging of cemeteries and grave sites didn't cause the haunting of the lake, there is still a good chance that, somewhere in there are bodies floating throughout. Some eyewitnesses have been even more explicit in their claims. One ghost story, involving the Lady of the Lake, tells of a ghost who is reported to walk the Dawsonville Highway Bridge. The woman who came to be known as this ghost, Susie Roberts, lost control of her car and crashed off the right abutment of Lanier Bridge on the highway. The body of another woman, believed to be a passenger, was found a year later. The body of Roberts has never been found, but her car was in November 1990, more than 30 years after her death. Another ghost, reportedly named Agnes, is the subject of a number of contradictory stories. Some reports claim she was a university student who hung herself. Others state that she was hanging out on the lake with friends when she tragically drowned. The Gainesville Times reported that many locals claim an accident in 1903 killed 88 people. When the site of their deaths was disturbed, they say, the ghosts began to haunt the area. Not all the terrors of the lake are supposedly supernatural, though. Speaking to the Gwinnett Citizen, one farmer claimed that, there's catfish swimming around the bottom of that lake that are the size of a 10-year-old boy. Whether or not the lake is subject to hauntings, bad omens, supernatural threats, or giant catfish, it's hard to say. But what is clear is that despite its tranquil and idyllic look, Lake Lanier is an exceptionally dangerous place to swim, boat, or explore. These risks aren't just historical. Every year, Lake Lanier adds more names to its infamous list of drowning, swimming, and boating fatalities. On July 27, 2020, Christopher Acosta Farias drowned while swimming on the lake. He was the fourth individual to lose their life on Lake Lanier that month. According to locals, the lake poses a danger no matter what the season. All manner of people are at risk and have fallen victim to the perils of Lanier. This is likely because the lake was not designed and is just not suitable for recreational purposes. And as more accidents occur on its waters, the buildup of debris will only get higher. So whether you believe in hauntings, giant catfish, bad omens, or curses, one thing is clear. You'd best be careful if you visit Lake Lanier.
I guess y'all heard that. And did y'all hear what he said when he showed the picture of that young man who drowned there in 2020? He said that he was the fourth person to drown that month. 4 people a month, that's like a person every week. Yes, bad omens, definitely Original Man 718. So that is spooky. All right. So with that all being said, I'm going to conclude this broadcast, but I'm coming right back at 10 p.m. So have your snacks ready, people, because we're going to talk about the third story for the night, Central State, the haunted lunatic asylum. Okay? So I hope to see you all right back in the chat. Like and share the video. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so. Click the notification bell. Click the word all. Make sure that you're getting your notifications. If not, double check to make sure you're subscribed. Don't forget to follow the Queen on Instagram at Queen Ahmadiyyah. Also on Instagram at divine_goddess_27. Twitter at dgoddess27. Brighton and Patreon at Queen Ahmadiyyah. So until next time, bros, I will talk to you all again soon. Peace.